Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Toolbox. Talking about the 318 Ti. Doesn't have the LS motor in it yet, but I got a lot of great feedback from some viewers and some commenters on Reddit about what could make these videos a little bit better. The first episode was a little bit sort of like improv. Wasn't a lot of planning went into it. It just sort of happened. I knew I was going to the track, so I wanted to get something put up. This episode, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the mods I discussed in the first episode, like the suspension specifically. So today, we're going to be installing a lip guard underneath the front splitter bumper area. I got a little lip guard that protects it there from some road rash and adds a cool little splitter look to it. I'm also going to be taking off the wheels and showing you guys the springs and the suspension work that we did back before. Do a little how-to about how to replace your springs if you're going to do lowering springs. Super easy. I'll also be talking about the brakes and the brake pads. There's a lot of how-to videos out there, so I'm not going to get too in-depth in it, but it's fun to see on the 318, and hopefully you learn something. So without further ado, let's park the car and go underneath and take a look. Alright, so we are underneath the front of the car, and what we're doing is installing this sort of lip guard diffuser looking thing to protect the bumper against road rash, although it doesn't really matter, but it looks kind of like a little diffuser. Kind of a cool little ad, nothing special. Anyway, we're drilling holes and putting rivets in and all that kind of stuff, so let's see what it looks like when it's done. Hey guys, it's the next morning. I was a bit sleepy and there was no more light. But here you can see the splitter bumper guard that was installed. I think it looks pretty cool. It's not necessarily practical, but I think it adds a nice little sporty look to the front. Alright, I want to go right into the brakes. So we replaced the brake pads with some sport brake pads, and it's super easy. I was always kind of worried about that kind of stuff, but there's a bolt here and then a bolt right there, and when you take those out, the caliper will be loose. You can just pop it out with a hammer, like a mallet, a soft mallet or something, or it might just come out. And once you do that, the brake pads are right in here. You just pop them out. You take these little clips off, pop them out, put new ones in. You'll probably have to get a vise. I mean, there's videos on how to do this stuff, but you'll probably have to get a vise to compress the piston a little bit on this side so that you can fit it back over the rotor. But super easy. You shouldn't be worried about it. If you're thinking about doing it in your own car, just do it. The rotors are also super easy. Once you get this off, the only thing holding the rotor in place is this little Allen bolt here. So you just loosen that, replace your rotors. Here we got some drilled, slotted, vented rotors for some performance bonuses. So, like I said, I did the suspension before. There's only a few other bolts holding the strut to the what is this? Control arm. So that has the new springs on it. So how do you get the new springs on? Well, it's pretty easy. You go under the hood and you'll see 3 screws like that. You unscrew it from the top there, bolts I should say, that you unbolt it from the top, unbolt it from here, and you'll be able to slide the whole assembly out. There's a big nut on the top. You get like I used my what's it called? Hold on. What's it called? Impact wrench. Wow, I just totally spaced it. Use the impact. You can use an impact wrench to get that bolt off. If you're using stock suspension, be careful because the stock suspension is going to have a load with that spring, so you'll want to go to AutoZone or something to rent some spring clips, some spring like vise to be able to compress that spring so there isn't a load, because that thing will just go shooting off and probably hurt somebody. So you take the spring off, you take the top off, take the old spring out, put the new one on, and reverse the process, put it back in. It's actually super easy. I was shocked at how easy it was. So same thing here. I kept the same rotors in the back because they were not as they weren't really worn down, and you know, excuse me, because they aren't really worn down, and just replaced the brake pads. This spring is actually way easier to replace. All you do is you want to get some load, like with a jack or something, underneath onto the hub to take pressure off of the strut and the spring. So you'll just undo this bolt here. You'll also want to take off, let me see if I can get a good angle on it. So there is a bolt underneath holding the sway bar to the control arm here, or the swing arm, whatever it's called. You'll want to undo that so that it's totally free to move, and then if you drop the jack down, this whole thing will just fall to the ground. And this spring, if it's the stock spring, you'll have to do some real, you'll have to do some real pulling, maybe stand on the hub to get it even lower, and take it out. And then the new one should fit in pretty easy because it's it's a lot shorter. But that's about it. So that's the new suspension setup on the car. The new brakes. We got a little front splitter / bumper guard on there. And so I hope you guys learned something. If anything, just go and do it. There's no reason not to do some of these things yourself if you want to. They're super easy. There's other YouTube videos if this wasn't enough. There's tons of other YouTube videos to figure out how to replace brakes and pads and suspension and stuff. But I was super intimidated by it. Just went and did it and found out it was much easier than I thought. So hope you liked this episode. On the next episode, hang with us. We are going to be replacing the rear differential, which I'm a little nervous about, and it's probably going to be a way bigger project than I'm anticipating. But we don't want all of that enormous power that's going to be in this car going through that stock differential, well, sort of stock differential, because it will blow up. So I've got a lower ratio limited slip diff from a E30 325, and I've got also a secondary diff mount that I got that I'll be able to bolt in to the existing diff cover. So you can see the diff under there. It'll be on the right side, bolting up just like it does on that side. So it's gonna be a big project. I'm excited for it. I've only ever replaced the cover to fix the bushing there, so it's gonna be kind of a new experience for me. So hopefully it's a good time. But thanks for joining us, Rusty Toolbox. Give us a subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Rusty Toolbox Builds, and on Twitter at the Rusty Toolbox. So thanks, guys. See you later.